Today's July 23rd, 24th, 23rd. Yes, 23rd. This is going to be episode 45 of Adam Speaks. I think I checked and I don't know. I looked and then I forgot. Whatever. So, last night around 5, there was a report that the deals were in the latter stages, or the talk was in the latter stages in the trade to bring Kyrie Irving to the Celtics, which ended up happening, which is pretty crazy. So they traded Crowder and they traded Thomas. They traded Zichich, and then they traded the Brooklyn pick. I think the Brooklyn pick, I don't think is going to be. I think you look at a lot of moves that they made, and I think they're not going to be that bad. I think they literally have they have no reason to be bad. If you look at the unless you're saying you don't want to play for Brooklyn, that's the only reason. But other than that, the team itself has no reason to be bad. They don't have a pick, so you give that a little bit of motivation. Then you give they picked up a bunch of people, or not picked up, but they traded for Mozgov, D'Angelo Russell. I just think they're going to be not. I can see the East, I think, has gotten better. That lower part of the East still isn't very great. But Brooklyn, I don't think they're going to be. I just. The seed could be in that top 10. I think if it's top 5, then maybe you say it was a mistake bringing that in. If it's in the top 10, I think maybe you say that's all right. I think then it's okay. And then Zichich, everybody, I don't know what his deal is. He was overseas. I mean, they could have brought him here last year. I guess he would have been a rookie. You would have had to bring him in because they really needed that rebound help. And apparently that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be great at rebounding. They didn't bring him here last year. Sure, he would have been a rookie, but if you're a rebounder, I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something there. But then Crowder, I mean, the contract is an unbelievable contract. And then even Isaiah's contract, also pretty good. I mean, $6 million for this year. And then, like I said, he probably is going to get the max. I guess he's going to get the max. I think he, unfortunately, was not a free agent this year or last year when the real max money was coming out. I think he's going to be going into the free agent year where the max money just won't be. I don't think he's going to get it. I think the max for him, I think you're going to see, unless LeBron leaves Cleveland, and then I suppose then Cleveland, you would say, would give him max money. But max money is whatever. As long as, if the years is 2 to 3 years, the max money really isn't that big of a deal. It's not gonna. You're not gonna tie yourself into a long contract like that. And I think we're probably gonna. It'll probably end up being Boston and Cleveland again in the Eastern Conference. So, I think Isaiah is definitely one of those players that plays with that chip on his shoulder. So, I don't know, maybe trading him maybe wasn't the best, but I also feel like the system in Boston probably works in his favor where no one else can shoot. So, he's the only person that could shoot. So, for him, he technically was the face. Now he's going to Cleveland, where he probably will get. I mean, he's obviously maybe he'll get 75% of the shots that he got last year, just because maybe even less because of LeBron. And then the team structures are just a lot different, so I could see that making it a little bit harder. for Isaiah to thrive. But I think you look at what the team did, and you say, well, would Isaiah even be in this type of position had he not come here? He played for two teams before. They weren't the Celtics, obviously. They weren't the Celtics. He didn't play with Brad Stevens. If he goes to, I don't know. I don't really think there's a scenario where he comes out the same. He is a player that plays with that chip, so I do see this trade affecting him probably in a positive light. I also think Crowder, he always was complaining and favoriting tweets about him and not being great for Boston, which confused me because if you talk to anyone who's anybody, they say that he was a great player, and then you look at the tweets that he was favoriting, and then you go to their followers, and they have like 100 followers. So like, what's that about? That could just be a joke. I think that could be a joke for him, and maybe for other people on the team. But does that mean he's thin-skinned? He has that pretty good contract. I think defensively, you lose him, which is bad. But pretty much what ended up happening was Crowder, his spot was taken by Tatum and also Hayward. So you're adding Hayward. There's only 4 players, they said, that are going to be on the team that were on the team last year, which I think is kind of crazy. I think if you can re-sign Kyrie to some sort of long-term extension, maybe it's another year, another 2 years, I think he's probably a better...
Anything else is pretty much...
He's probably a better guard than Isaiah in terms of scoring. I mean, he also is probably... I would say Kyrie's a little bit more proven than Isaiah, considering he made the biggest shot, maybe one of the biggest shots in NBA history. One of the biggest threes, and who it wasn't LeBron hitting that shot, it was Kyrie hitting that shot. So just look at his track record in terms of playing in big games. I think he'll probably be this premier scorer at him and Hayward, and then Tatum and Brown presumably will be most of the scoring. I think the Celtics still have some of the best depth. They added depth. I think they're in a good... It's hard to say who won the trade just based off of the trade itself, because right now you could say, well, what if that pick becomes the number 1 pick? And also, I think it's... I think I flip-flop between, I think Danny should keep all the assets, or that he should have traded them. I think you could say that Brooklyn pick, right, this year, I think that Brooklyn pick's probably going to be the worst of the worst. It's probably going to be the worst pick out of all the other Brooklyn picks that they got, which, granted, the other 2 Brooklyn picks ended up becoming the 3rd overall picks 2 years in a row. So to say it's going to be worse, to say it could be in the bottom 27 isn't much of a stretch, especially considering the team has gotten better in Brooklyn. They still have that potential Lakers pick. That's a weird protected pick, so it has to be out of the top 5, or it has to be the first pick. So if it's the first pick, that's obviously great. If it's out of the top 5, I suppose that's all right. Because then we also have the Celtics also have their pick, which probably will be in the bottom 5 of the first round, but that's all right. I think next year they still have a ton of picks, and that's what's the crazy part. And I think they have the Memphis first round pick next year, and then I think they have the Clippers first round pick next year. I don't know if I put this on record anywhere as saying this, but I looked at Isaiah, and he was probably the only player as of now, other than Paul Pierce, that had the best opportunity to have his number retired. I thought it was. He also had that Player Tribune article about how when he came to Boston, he felt like he was home, and how monumental the coming to play here was for him. I don't know. I think that's correct. I would say that's pretty accurate. I mean, they probably have the most history. Us and then maybe the Lakers, you could say, are the two teams that have the most history. I think Isaiah, if he had played here and he hadn't taken that max contract, if he had taken some sort of smaller deal, maybe you give him the max money for 2 years, or maybe you sign him to a long-term deal where you're giving him less than the max. He probably could have been a Celtics legend. I think I would consider his few years here, he probably cemented himself as a Celtics player that people will look back on and be like, yeah, he was a good player. And I've seen on Twitter that people are burning his jersey. What is that? I can't believe that. That's just got to be some fake stuff. Rich people just buying the jersey and just burning it so they can get famous on the internet for 10 minutes. So here we go. I'm going to pick the winner of the trade, since that's what everyone has to do. The Celtics won the trade. Kyrie Irving is a better player than Isaiah. Now they can sign him to, if he wants to resign here. He said he does, but they have him at least for the next 2 years. Then he has that player option, which I imagine he'll opt out, and I imagine before he opts out, they'll probably end up getting some sort of deal done with him where they're signing him to maybe a max contract. I think you look at the trade and you say, if Kyrie plays, I don't even think he's in his prime at this point. I think he's only 26, 27 maybe. I think he has at least 2 years. Probably in a year or two, he'll probably be prime. Which, I mean, even in looking at him now, he's very good. So, if he plays at that level, I think he'll be a great player here. I think the trade was good for the Celtics. I think this year maybe it's about a push. I think that Celtics got a little bit better. But if they can re-sign him, and if he doesn't get injured, obviously, then you look at the trade and you say the Celtics won that trade. That's going to be it. So, go rate the show. Adam Speaks, iTunes. Domus Designs on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. That's going to be it for today. So, like I said, Adam Speaks on iTunes. Go rate the show. Get me in some sort of ranking. That'd be great. All right, everyone. I will see ya.